While you can stink from anywhere on your body, body odor commonly comes from your armpits because there's lots of sweat glands there. Deodorant is something that you can put on to stop the stink. Hey friend, I'm Amy on A Lolly Life, and you have the brains to survive the zombie apocalypse. You know how I know that? Because it takes brains to work on life skills, which is what you're doing right now. And those same brains that are helping you work on life skills are going to help you escape the zombies. You are spectacular. I am going to answer some questions and talk about some interesting facts about putting on deodorant. Question 1, when should I put on deodorant? I put on deodorant daily. I sometimes put on deodorant more than once a day because it's like extra hot outside, or I notice that I'm just getting kind of sweaty, or I know that I'm going to be in front of a large group of people delivering some kind of a talk or message, and I'm nervous. Most people put on deodorant after they shower, but you should put on a fresh coat of deodorant in the mornings when you get dressed, even if you aren't showering right then, because you aren't fully dressed without deodorant. Sometimes the packaging on the deodorant will say something like, lasts up to 3 days. This one has something that says 48-hour invisible solid. Yeah, well, that would only be in precisely the right conditions. And I don't know about you, but my life rarely has precisely the right conditions for my deodorant to last extra long. So, you should put on deodorant every single day. Every single day. How high should I scroll my deodorant? When you open a new stick of deodorant, they have this like little plastic thing on the top. And in order to remove that, it has these little things that you can pull up. But if you scroll this up just a little bit, then it's very easy to remove the plastic thing off the top. It has a little arrow here that indicates which direction you're supposed to turn the deodorant. To scroll it up, you would turn it that direction, and you just turn the bottom, and as you turn the bottom, you can see that the top goes up. Yeah, so how tall should you scroll the deodorant up? And the answer is that it's a little bit of a personal preference. You shouldn't have it so high that by using it, you're going to break off the bar because it's not supported by the container. So this is too high. If you can't put the lid on while it's scrolled up, then it's too high. Generally, I use it when it's about this high. Maybe I would use it when it was this high. You want it to be high enough that you're not scraping your skin on the side of the container when you're trying to apply it and like scraping it all off as you try to apply it. That's too low. Why didn't the skunk call home? Because its phone was out of odor. Number 3, do I have to do anything before I put the deodorant on? If you stink when you put deodorant on, you will still stink after you put deodorant on. Deodorant is meant to stop you from stinking, not remove the stink once you are stinky. The first thing you need to do is make sure that you are clean and stink-free. Generally, that means that you have recently showered and that you have scrubbed your armpits with a scrubby and some soap. But on those days that you aren't showering right then, you need to do a stink check. A stink check is just a quick sniff under your arms. If you fail the stink check, then you need to do something about it. A really quick way to clean the stink out of your armpits if you're not going to be showering right then, or that's not an option, are baby wipes. They work really, really well. Or the paper towels in a public restroom, or if you're at home and you don't have baby wipes or something, then you could use a washcloth. Once you have clean armpits, you need to remove the cap from your deodorant. How much deodorant should I apply? The basic deodorant application technique is to swipe it up and down under your arm. I usually do 1 swipe up and down, 2 swipe up and down, and if I really think that it's going to be hot so that I might get stinky, then I might do 3. And when you do this, you need to make sure that you're like getting the whole armpit. You should never apply enough deodorant that it's like cracking in your armpit. If you have that much deodorant on, it is too much. And it probably means that you haven't cleaned your armpits recently, because a few swipes with the deodorant, even over a couple of days, a new swipe the next day and a new swipe the next day, isn't going to build up that much deodorant that it would be like cracking under your arms. And so you probably need to clean your armpits if you have deodorant that's caked on so thick that it cracks. What did the judge say when a skunk walked in to testify? Odor in the court. Number 5, how do you keep deodorant from getting on your shirt? If you apply deodorant before you're dressed, you need to allow time for that deodorant to dry before you put your shirt on. Or you could get white skid mark kind of things on your shirt, and they're not easy to spot clean off your clothes. I generally have to send the item of clothing through the laundry before the deodorant comes out. One way to keep white marks from getting on your clothes if you don't actually have time for your deodorant to dry before you get dressed is to get dressed first and then very, very carefully reach your deodorant up under your shirt and put the deodorant on after your clothes are actually on. If you are wearing a sleeveless top or a tank top or top with very, very short sleeves, you should probably make an effort to find a clear deodorant, because deodorant marks under your arms like that on your clothes are just kind of yucky. What's the difference between a deodorant and an antiperspirant? Because they are not the same thing. A deodorant you put under your arms to keep you from stinking or odor, get rid of the odor. An antiperspirant you put under your arms to stop you from perspiring or sweating. And so deodorant is supposed to stop the odor, and an antiperspirant is supposed to stop the perspiration or the sweating. The idea behind an antiperspirant is that if you don't sweat, then the odor-causing bacteria doesn't accumulate under your arm as quickly, and therefore you don't stink. I prefer deodorant, but I sometimes use antiperspirant. Tell me in the comments below if you are team deodorant or team antiperspirant. As a side note, they recommend putting on antiperspirant the night before because they say that it works better if it's been sitting on your skin for a while. With deodorant, you still sweat, but you don't stink, or well, as much. Just because you put deodorant on does not guarantee you a stink-free day. If you have a workout or you go for a run on a really hot day or you're out working in the yard, those kinds of things, you will still stink even if you put on deodorant that morning. Sometimes you can just do a quick reapply of your deodorant. Other times you need to use baby wipes or a quick shower before you reapply deodorant. Remember, deodorant is meant to prevent stink. It does not cover it up very well. Really, it doesn't cover it up at all. The seventh and final question is, what deodorant is best for me? And the answer to that is a little bit complicated. You might have to try a few brands of deodorant before you find one that works really well for you. Just like every person responds a little bit differently to medication, some people can take Benadryl and they get really sleepy, and other people take Benadryl and they get very jittery. The same correlation holds true for deodorant. I don't think there is one perfect deodorant. My dad found that ladies' deodorant worked better for him than deodorants manufactured for men, so he used that. You might have to try several brands and different kinds of deodorants before you find something that you like. And you might end up having to switch at some point because maybe they switched the formula a little bit and then it starts making your armpit red or itchy. There are other options for keeping the stink under your arms at bay without using deodorant. I've tried some of them and I have found that they work okay, but they're just not quite as effective as buying a stick of deodorant at the grocery store and using that. You have to just work a little bit harder and apply a little bit more often when you use some of the more natural things, and that is great. I actually did use many of the natural things until I started having hot flashes, and then the natural things just could not keep up with the stink. This isn't a sponsored part, but I will tell you that there's an active charcoal deodorant, and while I didn't find that it was necessarily strong enough for my underarms, it is amazing if you have sweaty hands. Like, you just put it on your hands and it keeps your hands from sweating. I have no idea, but it is a thing. How many skunks does it take to make a big stink? A few of them. Seriously, if you get nothing else from this video, then just remember that you need to apply deodorant every single day. You are not exempt. And if you are a teenager, you are doubly not exempt. Wear deodorant. I'm pretty sure that if everybody understood and followed this one thing, that world peace would spontaneously happen. Or at least it probably would at some workplaces. I love you. Make sure you get a shower and wear deodorant every single day, and I'll see you on the next episode of A Lolly Life. Why are skunks so clever? Because they have natural instincts.